Welcome everyone. Thanks for coming in. There's not too many, which is a little bit disappointing, but hopefully everyone will watch this afterwards. Um, look, the Knights offense is really designed to exploit confusion. Okay, so they change up their offense to be a 13, a 0-4, 10 spread, 12 spread, and they basically exploit confusion in coverage, particularly when they start bringing in their 13 and 14, sorry, their 13 and 04 personnel groups. And this game's a little bit hard to watch. The defense, the Devils' defense, appear to have names or positions, but not really assignments. It's a bit loosey goosey. So this will be focusing on the Knights' offense rather than looking at what the Devils' defense did, because it seems to me that their successes in defense here are a bit lucky, not actually by design. So we'll just crack on through. Number 6 here. So the Knights here are running a 12 spread. So they've got a in the pistol. And does everyone know what a pistol is? I'll explain it. I'll save everyone answering. Pistol is a short shotgun. Okay, and the reason a pistol is often used is if the snaps are a bit unreliable or often a bit high. You bring the quarterback up a little bit, and he can then sort of grab the ball before it sails over his head. Now, with the Knights' offense, it appears that they are consistently sort of in the pistol, and the running back, if there is a back, is only ever a single back, and he is quite deep. So their running plays take a long time to develop, which we'll see. So this is their 12 spread with an inside run. Excuse the madness, but our normal defense here would be 3 down linemen hitting the B gap, A gap, and C gap. This would be a 5 tech outside, shade, A gap, heads up, stunting to the B. We'd have our Sam linebacker with outside containment and a strong safety back here covering the tight end. Here we would have our Mike linebacker hitting the A gap opposite the nose tackle, and our Will linebacker is hitting the B gap on this side with the defensive end drawing this tackle out wide. And over here would have the Buck linebacker, on the tight end on this side, and there's cornerbacks on each side on the wide receiver, and this little dot down here is the free safety. So in this play, it's running into the B gap. That Aaron Whale is here making some space, but basically, if you go back, now the ball's come through. Pretty much the center draws that double team. So if this was our nose tackle, he draws a double team there. If this is our defensive end, he takes a tackle out wide. So if this is Foss, he should be smashing that B gap there, and he would take the ball carrier there. All right, so I'm pretty confident that our defensive assignments are going to be fine for this kind of running play from the Knights. Number 7. Okay, here they're running again, 12 spread. And you can see the Devils' defense here. It's not worth looking at because it's completely different to last time. But importantly for us, this is their toss play. So it's a bit hard to see, but the running back has hightailed to his left, and the tight end is trying to block outside. This is the ball carrier trying to come through here. So this is where we asked that the defensive end needs to penetrate deep with that. So if we take it back, again, our defensive end on this play would be in a 5-tech. Oh, is it DE? Rob and I had arguments about this. We're not really sure who's who. Anyway, so we should have a defensive end here penetrating through here. And our wheel linebacker is watching the B gap, but also not allowing the eligible receiver, which is the running back, to go outside his nose. Okay, so their toss plays did the most damage to the Devils, and toss plays and outside runs traditionally do the most damage to us as well. They can get big gains if they can get around the corner. With our defensive structure and assignments, we should have a defensive end penetrating outside there nice and deep, and the wheel linebacker making sure no one gets outside his nose. Number 8. This is the again the 12 spread. They do like passing into the flat. Their tight ends often go into the flat. You can see this is a mirrored play, so the guy on the other side there does the same thing. Now, strangely, this is the coverage here. Completely blown. And this is the cornerback, and this is his assignment. He's come off his assignment, and he manages to intercept that lollipop pass and runs it in for a touchdown. Stupidly for them, Hayden Fisher had a few comments to say to Derek Hagstrom and got himself a personal foul. So the extra point was taken at the 18-yard line. So just, guys, if you feel the urge to say something to someone, wait till after the game.
Particularly their coach, Derek, the guy on the left in the hoodie. He'll talk a lot of shit. Who cares?
I think the better option is just to leave it alone.
Yeah, fuck him. Yep.
Like, get the win and then throw it in his face afterwards, and we can turn around and go, well, the W is on our side, not yours, mate. Like,
that's right. And you don't need to say it because they know it. Okay. 15. All right. So this is their 04 personnel, and I received some sage advice that we're going to call this the 40 instead of 04. We'll call it 40. Okay, so this is another run play. It takes time to develop. Okay, so quite literally, that's the snap there, and that's the handoff there. All right, and look what's happened on the offensive line already. Okay, so again, with the 40,
I think they ran that against us last time we played them too, because it does take a long. It looks like it's going to be a pass because he gives every opportunity, and then all of us, like the running back was like sitting in his pocket basically, and then all of a sudden they just give a quick handoff and he shoots up the guts.
Yeah. So if you can't really see from this angle, but the quarterback's in pistol, so he's only a few yards deep, and there's a good 5 yards between him and the running back. Now they might fix that before they get to us, but you know, in particular, Will can get a good read on the running back. His direction he's going to be going is obvious. Unless he bounces or bends, his initial steps will really tell you where he's going. So on this play, with that amount of time, we should have plenty of defensive line penetration. Also, the Mike and Sam linebackers should be able to get through into the backfield on their runs for this. So I'll go over the defensive structure for this. Okay. So we're going to call this 40 trips tight or just 40. And we're going to call it early. So I'm considering, and I'll get your input later on, boys, but I was considering saying, like, instead of strong and weak, that's really based on what we're reading on the offense of the other team. So I'm thinking about calling it late and early for left and right, early for right, based on where we want our strong safety to line up. All right. So in this instance, if you can see you've got the 3 tight ends here, 1 tight end on the other side. And I'm only saying tight end because they are receivers tight on the line, okay? I'm not saying there's 3 wire receivers. And the same as here, I've actually changed it to just 1, 2, and 3, okay? I'm calling the single receiver the Y. So we've got the same basically for our defensive line. Mike linebacker and Sam linebacker are basically the same. Now we're going to have our strong safety on the tight end, on the wide receiver, same as before. The only difference really here is that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receivers. Okay, so our receiver coverage is obviously our cornerbacks, that's 2. Our buck is 3. Our strong safety is 4. The 5th in line for pass coverage is our will linebacker. Okay, our wheel linebacker is designed to be a bit faster than our Sam linebacker. So if they've got 5 eligible receivers, our 5th pass coverage is the will linebacker. Okay, so our weak point here technically is the B gap, but I don't see the quarterback running naked through the B gap. So I'm not worried about that, but I do want Will to line up in the same position as before, but he's got the number 3. They actually line up like this. Actually, he's got his coverage is the number 3 receiver. Okay, so the cornerback is the outside, is the number 1 defender. He's on number 1. The buck linebacker, if they're in the spread, for example, is the 2nd defender. Okay, so it should be fairly logical and easy to sort of understand or immediately interpret that the 3rd receiver is covered by the will linebacker. We okay with that, boys?
Yep.
Yep. All right. So that's people like you, Foss. If you hear 40, you've got to worry about the number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you can see with the amount of time it takes this play to develop, if they're in their 40, if they're running inside, we've just got so much time to get through their offensive line. I think we'll be okay. Well, hang on. I think we'll have plenty of time to penetrate, and I think we will penetrate, which means if we're in the backfield, there's a good chance something good will happen for us.
Can you take it back to the start of that play again?
The previous play, the 40?
Yep, please. Yeah, when they're lined up.
Yep.
So if we see this, our coverage will be the corner will be outside number 10.
This guy here?
Yep.
Yep.
In press coverage or 5 yards off?
I've got it in the playbook.
Do you want us to mix it up?
Okay.
I think press works really well if you're experienced enough at pressing in the league. A lot of people can have that first initial hit, but the receiver still takes off with like a bat out of hell, and they're left sort of turning and trying to catch up.
Yeah. So I've got here. It's not really press coverage because he's on. I want the outside leverage. Okay. So I want you up near the line of scrimmage. Okay. But because they're off the line, it's still like 3 yards off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of press, but I don't really want you trying to jump in and give him the bump on the line.
So do you, for example, if I'm playing buck, do you want me deeper than the corner?
A little bit deeper. Again, mostly because of the crossing routes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll show you a bit later sort of what they tend to do. But as an example here, they will run an 8,
Mm-hmm.
a 6, and a flat.
Yep.
Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain later as well that Will really needs to watch this, okay? Because that'll be
Yeah.
someone like number 44 Healy is
Mm-hmm.
their favorite receiver,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got to watch those flat passes. But I also don't mind if you can get onto him,
Mm-hmm.
and he will be on or behind the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
So if he receives that and you take him down the line of scrimmage, I really don't care.
All right.
That kind of pass is
Negligible.
irrelevant as long as it's caught, as long as you get hold of him before he can turn the corner. All right, so this is a run play, so we won't go through this one too much more. Sorry, Manny, does that cover what you wanted to ask? Okay. Okay, so this is the 10 spread twin stacks. Okay, now this coverage is ineffective for them. I don't mind what you guys want to do. What I would be having in the playbook basically is one is the front coverage with hard outside leverage. Okay, not necessarily bump, but if he tries to run an out route, you're all over him. If he runs inside, you've got him. Okay, and one about 5 yards deep. Again, outside leverage, but more square to the line. Okay, so this one here is a bit hard to draw, but like 45 degrees to the line of scrimmage, so you can watch your receiver and you can watch the quarterback in your peripheral. Although watching the receiver is your main assignment. This guy here, again outside leverage, but almost perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, and watching this second guy. They tend to use the front guy as the short route and the back guy as the longer route. But either which way, I still want man coverage. Okay. So if your guy goes deep, go deep. I don't mind experimenting with.
Sorry,
Yep.
I was just about to ask. I was about to say, is since they tended, because I noticed that too, they tend to run slants from this formation out the front. So I was thinking of taking away the slants completely and actually man pressing the front guy like off the line and basically telling the quarterback that he can try to throw it to him deep, but he's not going to have a good time going in.
Yeah, look, that's correct. I was about to explain two things, and so I'll get through them, and then we'll come back to you. Okay. So
Yeah.
I don't mind if you want to experiment with double coverage up the front, not allowing him to go on a route at all, but still man coverage. Okay, so still on this guy to be on him, and this guy to be on him. Okay, but I don't mind if you play bump coverage and really give the front guy a smash. Only if you both know how to play bump coverage, and only if you're both in unison jumping him and stopping the line. Okay, now one thing I do have a concern about, and this is back to you, Manny. Second point, against the Devils, they did run these slants. Okay, but that is fair chance that is because there was no safety. Okay, so there's a reasonable chance against us with a safety. Fucking blowfly. Fair chance that they'll actually maybe even line up a bit closer in, and they'll be running some out routes instead. Okay, so wait and see. I don't know if Hagstrom's that smart, but what I would prefer to do to start the game is run this as I described, just to start with when they present this, see what they do, and then we can react from there. Okay. Does that cover everything, Manny?
Yeah. That's fine.
Cool. All right. Anybody else any questions with this? No? Okay. this may have been a pass, but okay. This may have been a pass, but the coverage on the other side of the field, oh, the coverage on the other side of the snap was a bit high. He had to pull it in, and I think he made a pre-snap decision to go to his left, but the pass coverage on the other side of the field, oh no, he was in run. He was run blocking there. That must have been intended to be a run, but the pass was the snap was so high it didn't pan off like he wanted it. All right. What's this guy's helmet? Look at that. The snap's not even in the quarterback's hand yet, and he's already taken his eyes off his receiver. All right. The quarterback is running, but he's still behind the line of scrimmage. He can still pass that. So this to me is stupid. All right. And I'm pretty happy that we've ironed this out very well. Okay. So this guy here is deeper, which is a good thing. He's deeper, but he's not watching what his guy's doing. Okay. If that had been a rollout pass, then he has got no idea what his assignment's doing. As it is, because his coverage was so deep, he couldn't close the gap, and it was still a reception, and that was like an 8-yard gain. Uh, 17. Okay, again, 37 here, eyes off his coverage. 47 here, gets lucky. Okay, Healy puts on a double move here, and 47 wasn't covering it properly. Healy's deeper, but he has to slow down.
Say a bad thing. Their quarterback has got no, like, every ball is just the world's most slowest float you've ever seen.
Yeah, look, I think he's passing without seeing. Like, I don't think he's got great vision there.
Yeah.
He's staring down the free safety, which is probably a good thing. Then he unleashes out there. He's just passing. Like, he's very short. I just don't think he's got great vision out there.
Yeah, it kind of like Jamie Bales, but Jamie Bales at least fucking like sent them in there with a fair bit of zip behind them anyway.
Yeah, yep.
But they were like really like potato fly in there.
Yeah. So this is another example. Here's the snap at that moment there, and that's when he gets the ball there. And already the offensive and defensive line have tussled. Linebackers should be through holes. So we should be able to really cut out their inside run. Look, I also want to say too that with their pistol formation and their eye back, they can only really run between the tackles unless they're running a toss play. All right. So we really have to focus on outside containment, and we're looking at A and B gaps really, unless they run a toss play, which is really sort of linebacker material. Right. 24, and here's a toss play. 28 pursues. Okay. Okay, so in terms of our formation here, 28 there, I'll just let it play through, but 28 there over pursues. And he's able to cut inside. And by the way, that's not a tackle. Watch this guy. So it's number, whatever he is here, number 31 here. He makes the stop. Look what he does. He just
Isn't that that's the young fella from Torino that
Is
the one
it?
that the one
He,
that
tr-
kicked
he
from-
tried he tried to cut him.
Yeah.
Well,
He
Did he?
tried to. Yeah, he's trying to cut him, but
well,
he didn't
he was
commit.
going to.
Yeah, he
Well,
didn't
just-
commit. He got scared.
Just to let everyone know, that's how you get hurt.
Yes, 100%. Do
Yeah.
not try that at home.
If he rolled over, if he rolled over and put his shoulder on the guy's thigh and rolled into it, yeah, okay,
Yes.
that's one thing. But
That's
look
that's
at
how I've tackled every single person.
yeah, okay. So, just listen, boys. That's not how you tackle. So don't have pursue. So without formation, we should have. Again, it's a bit hard to tell, but this would be our Sam linebacker. That would be our. Oh, no, I don't know. You can't look at them. But without formation, defensive formation should be okay. Again, if that's our Sam linebacker, then you just can't let an eligible receiver get outside your nose. All right. And then just approach line of scrimmage. That should be a tackle for a small loss.
Can you go back to the start of that again? All right, so that's a for us we call that a strong right or an early.
No, that's
Yeah.
their so we're calling that
That's strong left.
early.
That's left, isn't it?
Um,
Backs on the left-hand side.
No, that's right. There's three on the right.
Yeah.
on their left.
Yeah, they're left. Yeah, but a strong right for us.
Yeah, so we're calling that late.
So
Hang on, no,
wait.
sorry, hang on. This is not a 40. This is a 13 personnel, Rob.
Manny.
Oh, Manny. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, Manny.
Um,
There's three tight ends here, or three receivers tight on the line. There's no tight end on this side because they've got a guy in the backfield here.
Yeah. So in our defense, so I would be the buck linebackers 48.
hang on.
Yeah.
I'll show you. 13. Okay. This is our defensive formation against 13 personnel. Okay. So again, cornerback, number 1, buck, number 2. Now, the only difference here is that the tight end on this side has gone back into the backfield. So he's now running back. He's gone from here back to here. So our strong safety is now on this side of the field covering the third receiver because now there's only 4 receivers on the field. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we only need 4 pass coverage. It's cornerback, buck linebacker, cornerback, and our 4th receiver coverage is the strong safety. Okay, so now in this instance, in their 13 personnel or 13 trips tight, we would have Mike linebacker getting here, defensive end going inside, and technically we've only got the Sam linebacker making sure the outside containment's there. Okay, so our vulnerability here would be to a toss play, which is why it's important that, oh, that was weird, which is why it's important that our linebackers don't overcommit, but I'm pretty sure, I'm confident our linebackers have got outside containment sorted out. All right. So again, I just say outside containment or the linebackers, you just can't let an eligible receiver. So Sam and Will, you just can't let an eligible receiver cross your nose. We're good with that? And Rob, does that explain the difference between the 13 personnel and the 04 personnel?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Yep. Okay. So you can see here there's some confusion with the Devils. This is where they set up their 04 personnel. So they'll run 13, They'll run 12, and then they'll slip in their 04, and this is what they're depending on: a pass coverage unbalanced. Outside here, there's a cornerback. There's also there's a wide receiver out here. There's also a cornerback covering it here. This guy here is just sort of floated over here, assuming there's another receiver out there, and he's being caught out. So then he hightails to the other side of the field, and this guy comes out for some reason. And so again here they run their flat, the 8 and the 6, which is not a bad little spread, and he just can pass over the middle. Now again, I'm thinking there's a possibility they will not be running this 8 and the 6 against us because we have a free safety over the middle. So they might be running a 5 and a 7, for example, instead, running away from the safety. Now, if you notice here too, no one's gone with them. So here, there's no one covering him. And there's no one covering those two receivers. Look at that. It's astounding. And then the guy over here decides to hightail back. I don't know what position he is. And the obvious result, touchdown. Pass for a touchdown. Just mad. So we just can't let that sort of thing happen. We just need to know if they line up in 40. If we don't know exactly what we're doing, we call a timeout. All right. Again, blown coverage. So he's supposed to be covering the tight end, and the wide receiver here is being covered by this guy here. If this wasn't a bad pass, like I don't know why they would. I don't know why they'd run the tight end straight into down the throat of the wide receiver. They just got lucky there. But the coverage is just blown, and we just can't allow this sort of stuff to happen with our coverage. All right. So if you're the strong safety, if you do have the tight end, what are they running there? So that's a 10 spread. So slot receivers, the slot coverage. So strong safety and Buck. Like I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. Is he covering him? This is why it's almost impossible to find out what they're doing.
I don't think he is. I think the man behind him is one of the far left of the screen. I'm pretty sure that's on the receiver, and that dude on there is meant to be like an outside linebacker, but it's just sitting really.
What's he doing? Yeah, like how wide you need to be.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's Clint. That's Clint Morley right there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they're doing his own thing.
Right. Okay. So there's no outside linebacker here, so I don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is why I want outside leverage. He just runs that all day, and they pass to him all day. And they get there, 5 or 6 yards all day. Occasionally, they'll miss a tackle, and he'll run for another 15. Okay. So in our style of play, if the defensive end goes inside, then the linebacker is responsible for outside. So that should be picked up by the linebacker who's working with the defensive end. All right, that just shouldn't happen. their outside containment is non-existent there. So he's got 4 or 5 yards or more just by going through that hole. So this is another 13. I'm calling it a 13 tight. So again, it's their 04, but they've got a running back in the backfield here. Again, linebackers still have to be, even in the 13, linebackers, even on the tight side, need to be aware of that swing route. So over here we have a strong safety covering the number 3, and we've still got a will linebacker. So if again, you just got to know your assignments, okay? So I don't want to get confused, and this is mostly people like the will linebackers like Foss. You've got to know the different roles between 13 and 04 personnel. If you're in 13, you really got to watch the swing routes on the and the Sam linebacker. So the coverage here is not too bad, but he's not approaching the line of scrimmage. And again, they just pass into all day, and there he goes. Misses 1 tackle, misses 2 tackle, 3, and gets taken down by the 4th. I think that was an 18-yard gain, that one. 73. Okay. So I don't know what they're going for with their alignments here. Okay, but I think that if we have our outside leverage here, but his feet about 45 degrees, and if he was back there, and I don't know what they're doing over here, I think we would have a decent success. Now, although this is a run play, the coverages are blown. All right. Now, the Devils seem to be assuming that there's going to be no passing still, because the Knights don't tend to pass. Knights are passing. We can't just take a play off. Cornerbacks and number 2 defenders can't take any players off. Don't get caught watching the quarterback. Don't watch for a run play. Your assignment is pass, and they will pass. They will punish us if we come off. And again, like, so this is 13 again with the 3 receivers here. 17 and 23 would have to be running the laziest routes you can possibly imagine. Like, look at number 23 cutting there. Yeah, he's just girling around. At least number 17 is trying to make a cut here. Funnily enough, though, Healy here, no one's on him. He could run into the end zone, and they could have just passed it to him. No one's covering him. But in the end, the pass goes to the lefty to that lazy-ass pass. If that, that should have been jumped. That was such a lazy route. That should have been an easy pick. Instead, he doesn't even make the tackle. And he hardly made the tackle. He had to get some assistance there. Just lazy. All right, so in terms of the playbook, okay, so in terms of the playbook, the main difference is the 04 and the 13 technique, or the 40 and the 13. Okay, so just to reiterate, if we're calling it late, we're actually calling it late because that's where we've got the strong safety to be. Okay, that's the easiest for us to go, I think. I'll discuss it further, but I might change all of them. Instead of saying strong left, we'll just call late. So this would be, bingo, late. All right. So again, same assignments that we all know on the defensive line. Basically, same assignments for the Sam and Mike. Will has just got to cover the 3rd receiver on this side, or the 5th receiver overall. And if we go into 13, we're going to 13. Again, it's the same, except that the strong safety, there's only 4 receivers, so the strong safety covers the third receiver here. And Will and Sam go back to watching the backfield. Okay, so if we do want to call a Wilco on one of these things, then basically it's the Wilco doesn't really change. Okay, still 4 tech going outside, still shade right going left, still 5 tech going left, and all these things happen just like normal. So I'd say we can run Wilco in, at this stage, we can run Wilco in when they're running against 13 personnel and all others except for 40. The 40 is a little bit different. So we're just going to stick to our base play for the 40 tech. And I was just going to suggest too that if we want to do some blitzing, we've got the opportunity to be calling like a buck blitz. So let's call that bourbon. If we're calling a will receiver, a will linebacker, we'll call that whiskey. If it's Sam, we can call it scotch. And I've yet to think of something that's got 2 S's in it. But
Scuba Steve.
What's that?
Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve. I don't think many would know that reference. But yeah, Scuba Steve, that's fine. We can discuss that on the day, or we can just call it in the huddle anyway. All right. If there's an audible called by the free safety, how's it been going at the moment? Has he just been calling, like a Manny?
Like if I end up going, I always tell Honey. Anyway, so.
Right. Okay.
Because like the two times I went in the last game, Crossy just told me to go, and I told Honey I was going.
Right. Okay. Just be careful, and this is for everyone. Just be careful with the linebackers calling the blitz to the free safety, just in case the free safety has told somebody else to call it. Just make sure you get acknowledgement. All right. So for the free safety, Chad, if it's going to be you, which it probably will be, if somebody does call you, telling you that they want to blitz, make sure you give them acknowledgement. Okay. Make sure you both have eye contact, you both have a thumbs up or something, so that you know there's no problem at all. Because if Chad's called a strong safety blitz or a Scotch blitz on this side, and you see an opportunity, he needs to cancel something. All right. So I would prefer if it came from the free safety to the linebackers. We're good with that. Or make sure there's acknowledgement.
Well, because like if we call a base play, and as they line up, we can be all talking as we're going, and as we see where they're going, that's when the drinks can be called.
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon we'll be right as long as we call as long as we talk and communicate like we did last time. Yeah. It worked out really well because everyone, we sort of didn't get abused by it because there was that communication from one side of the field to the other, which was good. And the best thing was everything getting done before the snap. So
awesome. Another thing we need to make sure we do is we keep doing the communicating while we're on the field, because second quarters, I've noticed we go quiet. Yeah, because we just let the game happen.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, this game as well, I'm assuming Cossy's playing, so I'll still be asking one of the defensive linemen to be calling the huddles, and we'll still give Crossy the opportunity to be calling the plays, okay? But after the base play is being called, then just communicate. Make sure that everyone's loud, And to be honest, I don't really care if they start catching on. We can just start changing the calls up anyway. All right. All right. So who's got some questions?
Not ideally at the moment, no. From me.
Not ideally. All right. Jay, did you have some questions?
No, that was all pretty well explained, I reckon. No,
Great. Manny,
pretty
any
clear on
further
it.
questions? No. Bear, thumbs up, all questions. Chad? I can't hear, so thumbs up or unmute yourself. Okay. Geordie? No. Okay. Aileron? Brett? Oh, fancy pants. Luke? Is Luke around? No. Who's Luke with?
Me.
All right. No questions? Cool. All right. All right. Well, that'll do. I'll have the install just tied it up some, and I'll just fix these alignments a little bit as well. I don't think we need to give them. There's no crazy speedy guys on here, so I don't think we need to give them a huge amount of depth at the moment. On their 04 tech, on their 40, I don't think we need to have the free safety 15 yards deep, just like 10 or so should do. And on their 13, I think about 10 will do as well, to try and sort of head off their toss plays as well. So I'll tidy this up a little bit. I'll get everyone to just go over the install Friday. I'll bring some risk coaches on Thursday. I'll have the install tied up by Thursday night, Friday. Just go over it Friday, and we'll have a risk coaches on for Saturday. Okay.
Yep.
So we'll keep it short. It was nearly an hour anyway. So look, thanks everyone for dropping in. The more, particularly against the Knights, I'll just reiterate, the more we are familiar with the change in circumstances, the more we will just crush their attempts at offense. But if we have hesitation when they change from 13 to 40, to 12 personnel, to 10 spread, etc., if we're not snappy, switched on, and know what's going on, particularly in the change from 13 to 04 tech or 04 personnel, they'll punish us for it. But I think these kind of sessions make all the difference. So thanks for coming in, and I'll see you all on Thursday, hopefully.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you. All right. See ya.
Thanks, Pete. Good on you, mate.
Pleasure. And done.